My Father's Debt Part 6. The Fulfillment. Hi loves, it's your girl Mila, and welcome back to Mila's TV. We've watched Daniel fall, struggle, rise, and rebuild. But now, his story reaches its beautiful ending, a chapter of peace, love, and destiny fulfilled. This is Part 6, the fulfillment where everything he lost returns in a better form. Let's dive in. Part 6. The Fulfillment. Chapter 51, The Return of Hope. Years passed, and Daniel's foundation grew across several cities. Children who once had no future were now in school, smiling, learning, and dreaming again. During a press event, one young girl said, "Uncle Daniel, you changed my life." He smiled through tears. "No, my dear. You changed mine. True fulfillment isn't in what you earn, it's in who you lift." Chapter 52, Faith's Graduation. Daniel's little sister, Faith, finally graduated as a nurse. Her mother cried uncontrollably. "Your father would be so proud." Faith hugged Daniel. "You made this possible, big bro." He smiled. "No, we made it possible together." When one person rises, the whole family stands taller. Chapter 53, Grace's Journey. Grace started her own women's empowerment initiative. She and Daniel often partnered on projects, their teamwork seamless, their bond unspoken. At one event, a reporter asked if they were married. They laughed. Grace said, "We're both married to purpose." Sometimes love matures beyond romance, it becomes legacy. Chapter 54, The Reunion. Years after his release, Daniel's father returned home frail, humble, and emotional. He couldn't stop crying. "My debt almost destroyed us." Daniel smiled warmly. "No, Papa. That debt gave us direction." He hugged his father tightly, forgiving everything. The past no longer hurt, it healed. Forgiveness doesn't erase the past, it redeems it. Chapter 55, The Award. Daniel was invited to the National Youth Awards. When his name was announced as Humanitarian of the Year, he froze. Walking on stage, he said, "This isn't my award, it belongs to every person who ever refused to give up." The hall erupted in applause. Grace and his family beamed with pride. When you give your pain a purpose, the world takes notice. Chapter 56, Grace's Father's Blessing. Mr. Williams visited Daniel's home for dinner. He raised his glass and said, "You've become the kind of man every father would be proud to give his daughter to." Grace blushed. Daniel smiled quietly, no words could capture the moment. Respect completes what love begins. Chapter 57, The Proposal. Under the same mango tree where Grace once shared her lunch years ago, Daniel knelt with a small ring. "Grace," he said, "thank you for seeing the man I could become when I couldn't see him myself." Tears filled her eyes. "Yes, Daniel. 1,000 times yes." Some love stories aren't written in books, they're written in time. Chapter 58, The Wedding. The ceremony was simple, beautiful, and pure. Friends, family, and even old classmates attended. When Daniel's mother walked him down the aisle, the crowd wept. Grace whispered at the altar, "We made it." Daniel smiled. "We always would." When love is built on pain, it stands forever. Chapter 59, Full Circle. Years later, Daniel and Grace walked through their new school compound, now named the Collins-Williams Academy. Children laughed in the courtyard. Faith worked as the school nurse. Daniel turned to Grace. "We turned a debt into destiny." She smiled. "And a struggle into a story that will never die." Legacy is when your story continues through others. Chapter 60, The Fulfillment. One quiet evening, Daniel sat on his porch, watching the sunset, his wife beside him, his mother humming softly, and children playing nearby. He whispered, "God, thank you. You turned my pain into peace." Grace smiled. "You see now? Every storm had a reason." He nodded. And every fall was preparing me for this. The camera of life slowly panned out from ashes to glory, from debt to destiny. In the end, fulfillment isn't about how much you have, it's about who you became through it all. Years later, Daniel sat under the same mango tree where everything began, the same tree that once heard his prayers, fears, and dreams. Only this time, he wasn't the boy who had nothing. He was the man who had found everything that truly mattered. Children ran across the schoolyard carrying books with "The New Light Foundation" stamped on their covers. He smiled as he watched them, their laughter was the sound of his redemption. Grace walked over, holding his hand. "You kept your promise," she said softly. Daniel looked at her, his eyes warm with gratitude. "No, we kept it. You believed when I couldn't." The sun set behind them, golden, calm, and complete. Daniel's voice echoed in his mind, the same one that carried him through pain. "We owed a debt, not of money but of faith. Life collected it through struggle, and paid it back in purpose." He closed his eyes, breathing peace for the first time in years. The boy who once polished shoes now polished souls with his story. And as the evening breeze danced through the trees, the world seemed to whisper, "True fulfillment isn't in what you have, but in what your story gives to others." And that's how Daniel's story ends, not with riches or revenge, but with peace, love, and purpose. He lost everything the world could take, yet gained everything the heart could hold. From a boy with nothing, to a man who gave others hope, Daniel's journey reminds us that every pain has a purpose, and every fall prepares you for your rise. So wherever you are right now, no matter how dark it feels, remember this. Your story isn't over. You're just in the chapter that will make your victory worth it. I'm your girl Mila, and this has been My Father's Debt. Thank you for watching, for feeling, and for believing. Two hearts.